So hi, this is Nicky, and in this session I'm going to try to help you understand how to navigate the class website. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. Here we go. And what you can see here right off is that I've got the URL for the class website. And that's where we're going to go and spend all the time for the next few minutes. So now I'm just going to share one part of the screen, and that is my Safari page. You can use any browser to get to the class website, NYPoliSci.org. First thing I want you to pay attention to when you get to the home page, there's a little message from me and so forth, and contact information, office hours, etc. Is this login form right over here. And what I want you to note is that you don't have to do anything with this login form. Just ignore it. You have full access to the website without that login form, okay? Then what I want you to do is notice at the very top, you're going to see different tabs for different classes. If you are in the basic POLI 1 class that meets face-to-face, you're going to come to this one right here. If you're in the online class during the regular school year, you're going to come to this one. And then if you're in the summer online class, you're going to come over to this one. There's also a contact page and one for my social movements class, but you can ignore those for a second. Let's say that you're in the online class. The basic architecture of the website of each page is more or less the same. So I've clicked onto the online one, but again, the basic architecture is the same. So what you've got here is you've got a syllabus tab. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger if I can. You've got a syllabus tab, and you've got your drop-down menus. You've got your calendar tab. You've got your drop-down menus, and then you've got a section in the middle on how to succeed. So you're going to want to put this basic URL into your browser history or memory or favorites so that you can get easy access to it. And now I'm going to just walk you through real quickly how to navigate it. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the specific content. We'll do that in a different session. So let's start with the syllabus page. If you hover over this, you click on that very first drop down, you'll come to the overview of the class, the learning goals. There are 6 major learning goals here that you can refer to at different points in the class. If you ever feel like you're a little lost, you don't quite know what you're learning or what you're supposed to be paying attention to, just come back to these and it'll be a nice reminder. Then you've got a tab here for required texts. Then you've got a tab here for grading and assignments. And on this page, what you can find is basic description of the rules of the road, drop, add dates, the grading scale, a list of the assignments and a point breakdown, a little more detail about those assignments right here. If you click on any one of these links here, like class participation or hands-on learning, it'll open up a little sub-page where there's description. And then there's an overview class calendar that goes into week by week, unit by unit, what work is due. The next tab down is the turning in work page, and a lot of you are going to need to know how to get to that page because there's a little redundancy here and it lays out the due dates, etc., and what work is due when. But the main thing you want to notice here is the description of the turnitin.com page and also the Catalyst web pages. So I want you to read real quickly about Catalyst. If you're brand new, there's a link there to the first-time users. Mostly what you're going to be doing on Catalyst is the reading quizzes. You can also check your grades on Catalyst, but every week you're going to need to take your reading quiz on Catalyst. And then the main site where you're going to be turning in work is turnitin.com. What you'll notice for each page, each class web page is there's a separate login ID and then a password. So make sure, for example, if you're on the online class, that you're on this tab here, and that will tell you what your login is for the distance learning or the online class Turnitin website. It also, there's a brief description about peer reviews, about plagiarism and academic citation, about formatting requirements for Turnitin, and then you can see class calendar summary there as well. So this next tab here is the hands-on learning page. And you'll notice there are two sub-tabs for that one: practicing democracy assignments and the civic engagement fieldwork. If you're a summer student, you're not going to be able to do fieldwork, but you will do these practicing democracy assignments. If you click on the general tab right there, it takes you to this page here with an overall description. And really what you want to then do is go to the sub-pages. If you click on this tab for the practicing democracy assignments, you've got a description, and then you've got links to various assignments that you're going to be doing potentially over the quarter. Your alternative to the practicing democracy assignments for hands-on learning is what we call civic engagement fieldwork, and that's a placement in a community or campus-based political organization where you can get involved in campaigns and really learn from people who are doing it how to be civically active and gain your skills. So there's a description of where and what, the field report requirement, how you document your work, a description of the short papers that you'll turn in over the quarter, critical due dates, etc. The next tab down then is extra credit, brief description of how to do extra credit, what is eligible for extra credit. If you're a student in the regular term, you can earn up to 150 points of that, and for summer students, up to 100 points. Again, description of various ways of earning extra credit and how to submit it. Now, I want to just take you back to the turning in work page for a second and just mention one thing. When you turn in work, you've got your Catalyst work that you're turning in, and basically the turning in work on Catalyst really is just the reading quizzes. And all the other work virtually that you're going to be turning in the class, you're going to turn in through turnitin.com. And the thing that I want to make sure that you're doing is that when you're turning in work, you're using the assignment template for each assignment. And I'll get to that when we get over to the calendar section, but I wanted to highlight that right now. So there's a little link here for honors students. If you're an honors student or you want to take this class for honors, you can't do it if you're an online student, but if you're in the face-to-face classes, you can, in fact, take the class for honors credit. Let's come over here to the class calendar page. And if you see the class calendar page, you'll see that it drops down with different week by week or unit by unit menus. Let's click on the week 1 class calendar page. Here's the basic breakdown for the pages. What you can see is that at the top of the page, there's kind of a description of what we're doing for that unit or that week. There's a list of assigned readings, some video resources. If you're an online student, you need to look at those on your own, but for the face-to-face students, we'll be looking at most of those in class. And then there's a list of the assigned homework and what it's due, and you just kind of drop through it. You can see in this first week for the Unit 1, bunch of short assignments. They're not worth a whole lot of points individually, but together they're worth about 30 points or something like that. So that's like 3% of your grade. No one will take more than 5 or 10 minutes maximum, these very first ones, except for potentially the syllabus quiz that you'll take on Catalyst. You might have to take that a few times to get a passing score for that. So that's your basic breakdown week by week. Let's just jump over to the middle of the quarter here, week 5, and just see what that page looks like. Again, here you've got the topic, elections and politics, Congress, the courts, presidency, California politics. You've got your list of assigned readings. You've got your video resources, and then you've got your homework assignment. Typically, after week 1, every student in the class is going to take a reading quiz. The due dates are a little different for each student, for each class. So you got to look at your class calendar and notice that the reading quiz for the online students is due at 10 p.m. For the face-to-face students, it's due an hour before class time. Then the online students will have a participation chat, and then every student in class will have one additional piece of writing that's due every week. And so, you can go to any week in the class, whether it's week 8 or week 2, and you can basically see that same breakdown. You've got your assigned readings, you've got your video resources, you have your homework, okay? So now let's come over to the last page here, this how to succeed set of tabs. And what you can see is that you've got an overview, you've got a list of college resources that we offer on the campus. And there's just so many resources on campus that you should really utilize, including counseling services, disabled student services. Here's one that I want to really highlight. Every student at De Anza is entitled to an EcoPass. It's a VTA bus and rail pass. You already pay for it. It's not very expensive. It gives you universal access to all the VTA light rail and bus lines, financial aid, etc. But here's the real resources that I would like you to pay attention to, and it's the student mentors and the help sessions. If you click on the student mentor link, what you get is a list of all the TAs in the class with contact information, phone number, email, be a little link. You can send them an email address and so forth. That's super helpful. And then if you click on the help session page, there's a description of help sessions and the schedule and who's teaching, who's leading the help session. This is an extremely useful set of tools. And by the way, I give you extra credit for going to help sessions, but you have to turn in the extra credit form. So that's an overview of the class website. And in another video, I'll share some of the other tools and due dates that I want you to pay attention to. That's it for right now. Okay, good luck. Bye-bye.